guys. Um, Today we're going to talk about Karla Faye Tucker. She was born in 1959 and raised in Houston, Texas. Karla was the youngest of four sisters. Her dad worked as a longshoreman at Port of Houston. Hours were long and pay was not great. The marriage suffered as a result. It was rough on the kids, so they all took up smoking by the time Karla was 8. Her parents eventually divorced. During the proceedings, Karla learned at age 10 that her father wasn't actually her dad. Her mother had an affair that led to her getting pregnant with Karla. The family's relationship got worse because of this knowledge. At age 12, Karla was found, she found sex and drugs to cope, and by the age of 14, she dropped out of school. Just like her mother, she turned to being a groupie during the rock and roll era. To pay for her habits, she worked in the sex industry. She was able to meet many famous bands like the Eagles, the Allman Brothers, and the Marshall Tucker Band. At age 16, she married Stephen Griffiths. He was a mechanic. The marriage didn't last very long, however. The whole thing fell apart. She eventually started hanging around a biker gang in her 20s. She was introduced to a couple, Sean Dean and Jerry Lynn Dean. They became friends quickly. They shared the same habits and similar upbringing. In 1981, she was introduced to Daniel Ryan Garrett, but the two just called him Danny. They started flirting with each other, even though there was a 14-year age difference. They started dating soon after. They shared a very expensive drug habit and started making plans to make quick cash. Jerry had a motorcycle and that he was restoring. It was worth a lot of money. Karla took Sean's keys and then they decided to act. They brought a friend, James LeBrun, so they weren't outnumbered. Instead of heading to the garage, the trio headed to the bedroom, but that's where it all went wrong. Jerry woke up. Karla tried to pin him down, but the big guy threw her off. Danny tried to find a way to end the fight. He found a ball-peen hammer and swung the hammer, and it connected to the back of Jerry's head. Danny left the bedroom in search for any valuables, leaving Jerry bleeding out and sputtering blood. As he looked around the house, Karla got angry with Jerry's twitching and found a 3-foot pickaxe. She wanted to make him shut up, so she swung again and again and again till the noises stopped. Danny ran back to the room and took the pickaxe. He drove it straight into Jerry's chest. Danny left the room, leaving Karla in silence. Except it wasn't all silent. She heard breathing. There was another person in the room, Debbie. She tried to escape from the tangle of bedsheets but found herself stuck. Karla tried to hit Debbie but missed, barely grazing her shoulder. They fought until Danny returned and broke it up. This was Karla's chance to swing again, and this time she did not miss. She hit her multiple times. She later stated each hit felt orgasmic. She left the axe in Debbie's body. The blood-soaked killers stole all they could and left. In the morning, Debbie's coworker came to the house because Debbie didn't pick her up from work. A few unanswered knocks. She called the police afterwards. The police arrived and looked around the scene and gathered evidence. The killing was all over the news. It took weeks, and the killers were still not found. Danny's brother and Karla's sister turned the pair into the police. they were able to get a confession. Karla was charged with both murders, but Danny was only charged with Jerry's murder. The police told Karla that they would drop one of her murder charges if she would testify against Danny. She agreed, but still pleaded not guilty. She claimed that she was too intoxicated to be held accountable for the murders and should be considered temporarily insane. The jury deliberated for only an hour. They found her guilty of the first-degree murder and was sentenced to death, which was unusual for females of the time. Danny received a similar sentence, but died of liver failure in 1993. Karla waited on death row trying to appeal her conviction. During her time in jail, October 1983, she converted to Christianity. She had found a Bible in the jail's library. Quote, "Before I knew it, I was on the cell floor on my knees. I was asking for God to forgive me." End quote. She married her minister, Reverend Nana Lane Brown, while still in prison. Karla spoke to as many people as she could about Christianity. After years of appeals that every time was rejected, she claimed if she was then who she was now, she would have never committed those crimes. Many people, including the Pope actually, at the time, argued to change her death sentence to life imprisonment. For 14 years, she was a model prisoner. All over the world, millions of people asked for the death sentence to be lifted. Many others, though, were not convinced. Karla's last meal was a peach, a banana, and a salad with ranch dressing. They made one last appeal, but it failed. Karla Faye Tucker was killed by lethal injection on February 3rd, 1998. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.